I arranged the stack of pastel-wrapped packages on my sister's gift table, each one selected with painstaking care. The teddy bear onesie, the hand-knitted blanket I spent weeks making, the silver rattle that cost more than I should have spent. My offerings to Brielle's unborn child sit among dozens of others, all dwarfed by the immaculate diaper cake towering at the center, adorned with satin ribbons and tiny plastic rattles. "Chloe, there you are." Mom swoops in, punch cup extended like a peace offering. "You look tired, honey. Are you sleeping any better?" I accept the cup with a smile that doesn't quite reach my eyes. "I'm fine, Mom." She pats my arm, her attention already drifting to where Brielle holds court in the living room, one hand resting on her swollen belly as she laughs with a cluster of friends. Mom's gaze lingers on her younger daughter with naked adoration. Brielle looks absolutely radiant today, doesn't she? She doesn't wait for my answer before hurrying back to refill my sister's plate. I sip the too-sweet punch and survey the scene. Brielle's suburban home sparkles with baby shower perfection. Soft pink and blue streamers hang from the ceiling. Welcome baby banners adorn the walls. Platters of finger sandwiches sit mostly untouched beside color-coordinated cupcakes. Everything is picture perfect, just like Brielle herself. Two of Brielle's college friends stand near the kitchen doorway, their heads bent together in conversation. When I approach to refill my punch, they straighten abruptly, their smiles too bright. "Such a lovely shower," one says, voice pitched unnaturally high. "Absolutely beautiful," the other agrees before they both drift away, casting backward glances. This happens 3 more times as I circulate through the room. Conversations stop, eyes slide away from mine, smiles turn brittle. Dad appears at my elbow, squeezing my shoulder. "How's my girl holding up?" "I'm okay." It's the answer I give everyone these days. Simple. Expected. A lie. "Good, good." He nods, distracted, then brightens as he spots Brielle waving him over. "Your sister needs me. We'll catch up later, princess." I watch him cross the room, bending to kiss Brielle's cheek as she whispers something that makes him laugh. Some distant part of me remembers when Dad used to laugh like that with me. Before Logan died, the memory hits like a physical blow. Logan's Toyota crumpled against the highway divider. The police officer at my door at 3 a.m. The closed casket at the funeral home because they said it would be better that way. Better for whom? Not for me. Not for the widow robbed of even a final goodbye. 7 months. 7 months since I buried my husband. 7 months since I dragged myself through days that felt endless, nights that offered no rest. 7 months of grief support groups and antidepressants, and learning how to speak about him in past tense. And now here I stand, smiling politely at my sister's baby shower, the first family event I've attended since the funeral. The brave widow, finally emerging from her cocoon of grief. If only they knew how I still reach for him in my sleep. My gaze drifts to where Mom and Dad hover around Brielle. It was always this way, even before Logan's accident. Brielle, the golden child. Brielle, the one who commanded attention simply by existing. Brielle, whose needs always somehow outranked mine in the family hierarchy. I don't begrudge her the spotlight. I never have. But today, something feels different. The way they orbit around her. The way they've barely spoken to me beyond cursory greetings. The calculating glances Brielle keeps sending my way. My phone buzzes in my Pokeda calendar reminder for tomorrow's bank transfer. Another $1,200 to my parents' account. The third such payment since Dad's retirement fund took a hit last spring. Money from the savings Logan left behind. Logan, who provided security even in death. Our suburban home, paid in full. The downtown condo he kept as an investment property. The $420,000 in savings and investments that I haven't touched except to help my suddenly needy parents. "So, Brielle," someone calls out, "you still haven't told us who the lucky father is." The room quiets, all eyes turning to my sister. She smiles mysteriously, one hand caressing her belly. You'll find out soon enough, she says, eyes flicking toward me. A tinkling sound cuts through the chatter. Brielle stands in the center of the room, tapping her glass with a spoon. Conversation dies. She radiates in her floral maternity dress, pregnancy giving her a glow that seems almost theatrical. Everyone, she announces, before we open gifts, there's something I need to share. Her voice carries perfectly. This is her stage, her moment. It's time you all knew. She pauses, her eyes finding mine across the room. Logan Wilson is the father of my baby. The punch glass slips from my fingers. The crash of shattering glass echoes through the suddenly silent room. Punch splashes across the hardwood floor like blood. I don't move. I can't move. The world has stopped spinning. Brielle reaches into her purse, extracting a small stack of photos with practiced precision. She holds them up one by one. Logan and Brielle embracing outside a hotel room. Logan holding her hand across a restaurant table. Logan smiling at my sister in ways he once smiled at me. My gaze swings to my parents. Their faces show concern, sadness, but not surprise. They knew. They already knew. Since my baby is his only heir, Brielle announces, her voice carrying across the frozen tableau, I'm entitled to half of everything Logan left you. The punch spreads around my feet, seeping into the cracks between the floorboards. Just like the truth, soaking into the crevices of my life, staining everything it touches. I stand frozen, punch soaking the hem of my skirt as whispers ripple through the room. My sister's words hang in the air like poison. Logan Wilson is the father of my baby. 5 words that shred the fragile piece I've cobbled together since burying my husband. Brielle remains center stage, one hand protectively curved over her belly, the other still clutching those damning photographs. Her mascara remains perfect, despite the theatrical tears glistening in her eyes. Mom rushes past me, glass crunching beneath her sensible heels, to embrace Brielle. There, sweetheart. This must be so hard for you. She pats my sister's back with the same motion she used when we were children, when Brielle skinned her knee or lost a dance competition. No one touches me. No one approaches the widow whose world has just imploded for the second time in 7 months. Dad clears his throat, addressing the stunned guests with practiced solemnity. We know this comes as a shock to everyone, but Logan's child deserves his rightful inheritance. We must do right by Logan's legacy. Logan's legacy. The words strike me like physical blows, as if Logan's legacy could be reduced to assets and bank accounts. As if his legacy weren't the life we built together, the memories still hanging from every wall of our home. Aunt Meredith touches my elbow. Honey, perhaps you should sit down. Her voice carries the forced calm people use with unpredictable children. I brush her hand away, noticing for the first time that guests are beginning to gather purses and jackets, making hasty retreats with backward glances and uncomfortable smiles. Chloe. Dad approaches with his checkbook, face the expression he wears when discussing finances. Why don't we continue this discussion in private, as a family? Privacy. The word tastes bitter on my tongue. A bit late for that, isn't it? He steers me toward the kitchen, while Mom guides Brielle in the same direction. The remaining guests part like the Red Sea, relief evident in their escape. The kitchen's brightness feels obscene. Crystal clean countertops, gleaming appliances, everything in its place while my entire world dissolves. How long have you known, I demand, bracing against the kitchen island. Mom's hands flutter to her necklacey, a nervous habit from my childhood. Known what exactly? Don't. My voice drops to a dangerous whisper. Don't insult me by pretending. Dad squares his shoulders. We've known about Logan and Brielle for about 8 months, dear. 8 months. Before Logan's death. While we were planning our 5th anniversary trip. While I was researching fertility specialists because we hadn't conceived yet. You knew while he was alive, and said nothing? Mom's gaze slides away from mine. It wasn't our place to interfere in your marriage. But it's your place to ambush me at a baby shower? To help Brielle stake claim to Logan's money? That's not fair, Chloe. Dad's accountant voice emerges reasonable, measured. Family assets should be distributed fairly. Logan's child has legal rights. Logan's child. I spit the words back at him. You don't even question whether it's true. Brielle sniffles dramatically from her perch at the breakfast nook. I have proof, Chloe, not just the photos. Convenient proof that appears after he's dead and can't defend himself. You're in denial. Mom places her hand over mine, her diamond tennis bracelet catching the light. The bracelet I helped Dad pick out for their anniversary last year. We understand this is difficult, but I pull my hand away. Difficult? A harsh laugh escapes me. You have no idea what difficult is. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Dr. Sullivan, my Thursday grief group leader. The coincidence nearly breaks me. You should go home and rest. Dad's tone suggests I'm being hysterical. When you've calmed down, we can discuss how to handle the redistributed assets without making this messier than it needs to be. Redistributed assets. As if Logan's death were merely a financial transaction requiring adjustment. There's nothing to discuss. I straighten my spine, channeling the boardroom confidence I used to have before grief hollowed me out. Any claims against Logan's estate will go through proper legal channels. Mom's eyes widen with hurt surprise. We're family, Chloe. Surely we can resolve this without involving lawyers. The text notification chimes again. I glance down. Just heard what happened. I'm here if you need anything. Love, Megan. My cousin. The only family member who bothered to check on me regularly after the funeral. I need to go. I step toward the doorway, my legs steadier than I expected. Don't be hasty, princess. Dad blocks my path using the childhood nickname that once made me feel treasured. Gerald Whitaker's firm handles family estate disputes. I've already spoken with him about our situation. Our situation. The casual admission that they've been planning this ambush strikes me with crystal clarity. You've already consulted a lawyer? My voice sounded away, even to my own ears. Just preliminary discussions. Dad's hand settles on my shoulder. For everyone's protection. I shake off his touch. I have to go to work tomorrow. My boss has already been too flexible with my grief leave. About that, Mom interjects. You might consider taking more time off given these new circumstances. My phone rings. Simon Walsh, my actual boss, who called weekly after Logan's funeral to check on me, who sent meals when I couldn't cook for myself. I'll see myself out. Brielle calls after me. This doesn't have to be ugly, Chloe. Think about your nephew or niece. I don't turn back. That night, I lie awake in our king-sized bed still, our bed. Never just mine. The inheritance attorney's card sits on the nightstand where I've kept it since the funeral, untouched until now. Tomorrow I'll call him. Tonight, I finally understand a truth I've spent years denying. I have no family to trust. I toss the Mapleton Herald onto my kitchen counter, the front page headline slapping against the granite. Pregnant widow speaks out. I just want what's best for Logan's baby. Bile rises in my throat. Brielle's photo dominates the page, her hand cradling her belly, eyes cast downward in practiced humility. The reporter didn't bother calling me for comment. Why would they? The grieving, bitter widow denying her dead husband's child makes for a far less sympathetic story. The doorbell rings. Third time this week. I peer through the Peopleno one there. Just another pastel-wrapped package on my porch. I crack the door open and drag the box inside with my foot, not wanting to be seen. Inside, a yellow knitted blanket with a note pinned to it. Every child deserves to know their family. Don't punish an innocent baby. No signature, but I recognize my mother's handwriting on the card. She taught elementary school for 30 years. Some things you can't disguise. My phone vibrates with a text from Cousin Maggie. Your parents told everyone at church about Logan's baby yesterday. Pastor Jim is organizing a prayer circle for your healing and acceptance. I'm so sorry, Chloe. I drop onto the couch, my legs suddenly unable to hold me. The family betrayal expands like a gas, filling every corner of my life. The phone rings again. My grief support group leader, Vanessa. Just checking in, she says. Thursday session still on your calendar? I'll be there. My voice sounds steady, which surprises me. Good. The group's worried about you, after what you told us last week. Last Thursday, I'd finally shared Brielle's bombshell. Expected shocked silence. Instead, received immediate, fierce protectiveness from people who barely knew me. Actually, I say, could I bounce some ideas off the group? I need a war council. Vanessa's voice warms. That's exactly what we are. 2 days later, I spread Logan's financial records across the grief group's meeting table. 8 people lean forward, examining the papers with the intensity of military strategists. I never realized how organized Logan was, I say, tapping a color-coded spreadsheet. Every trip, every meeting, every purchase all documented. Maria, a retired accountant who lost her wife last year, adjusts her glasses. Timeline doesn't match what your sister claims. According to these records, Logan was in Chicago when she says they met at the Lakeside Hotel. Derek, who wears his late son's baseball cap to every meeting, slides a journal toward me. His work entries contradict her story too. The dates don't align. Something stirs in my memory. Logan mentioned once something about medical issues as a child. Said that's why he was so thorough with health checkups. I shuffle through more papers, but I can't find his complete medical history anywhere. Robert Caldwell, my attorney, sits beside me, taking notes. I'd invited him to join today's session specifically for this brainstorming. The burden of proof in paternity cases is complex, he explains. Without Logan here to provide DNA, they'd normally test close biological relatives, but she's claiming inheritance rights based solely on these photos and alleged encounters. He taps his pen against his notepad. What we need is evidence that Logan couldn't be the father. Medical records could be crucial. The knot in my stomach loosens slightly. For the first time since the baby shower, I feel a glimmer of hope. That night, surrounded by documents in my home office, my marketing background kicks in. I create a digital evidence board, categorizing everything by type, date, and relevance. Green for supporting evidence, red for contradictions in Brielle's story, yellow for items requiring verification. I hang a printed version on my wall, stepping back to study the patterns. The timeline discrepancies leap out immediately. Photos of Logan at work conferences on days Brielle claimed they were together. Credit card statements showing purchases in different cities. His detailed calendar notes. My phone rings, displaying unknown number. Usually, I'd let it go to voicemail, but something compels me to answer. Hello? Silence, then a woman's voice, hesitant and older. Is this Chloe Wilson? Yes. Who's calling? My name is Elaine Foster. You don't know me, but... A pause, a deep breath. I'm Logan's biological mother. The room tilts sideways. I grip the edge of my desk. That's impossible. Logan was an orphan. No, her voice cracks. He wasn't. But I understand why he told you that. I sink into my chair. I don't understand. Logan spent his childhood in foster homes because I couldn't care for him. Substance abuse problems. Her voice flattens, stripped of emotion through years of painful recitation. By the time I got clean, he was 16 and wanted nothing to do with me. I respected that, kept my distance. My mind reels. Logan never mentioned any of this. I've been sober 26 years now, she continues. I searched for him off and on, but he changed his name when he turned 18. I only found out about him again when I saw his obituary last year. Tears burned behind my eyes. Why are you calling me now? Because I saw the newspaper story about your sister's baby, and Chloe. Her voice drops to nearly a whisper. It's impossible. Logan was diagnosed with complete azoospermia when he was 26. He couldn't father children. Ever. The evidence board blurs as tears spill onto my cheeks. Are you certain? Absolutely certain. It was genetic, related to issues he had as a child. I have copies of his medical records from before he cut contact. And if you need DNA to prove I'm his mother, I'll provide it. For the first time since the baby shower, I weep freely. Not from pain, but from validation. Logan hadn't betrayed me. My family had betrayed us both. Through my tears, I spot a folder I hadn't yet opened labeled simply medical personal, in Logan's neat handwriting, tucked at the bottom of a box from his office. With trembling fingers, I pull it out and flip it open. There, in official medical letterhead, the diagnosis stares back at me. Dated 8 years ago, complete azoospermia, confirmation of what Elaine just told me. Mrs. Foster, I managed through my tears. Would you be willing to meet with my attorney? Tomorrow if you need. And Chloe, call me Elaine. After we hang up, I sit motionless, staring at Logan's medical file. The weight on my chest lifts slightly. I still grieve my husband, but now I can defend his memory with the truth. I text Caldwell immediately, attaching photos of the medical documents. We have what we need. Logan couldn't have fathered any child. Call me first thing. His response comes seconds later. This changes everything. Get some rest. The counterattack begins tomorrow. I trace my fingers over Logan's signature on his medical forms. For the first time in 7 months, I sleep without reaching for him in the darkness. With the medical records in hand, I finally had the weapon I needed. But would the truth be enough against a family willing to lie so boldly? And what other secrets had Logan taken to his grave? The courtroom showdown awaits. I sit across from Elaine Foster in a corner booth at Rosie's Diner, studying the face of the woman who gave birth to my husband. Her hands cradle a manila folder containing the medical records that could save everything I have left. I never thought I'd share these with anyone. Elaine's fingers tap lightly on the folder. Logan was so private about his condition. The folder slides across the Formica table, a simple handoff that carries the weight of salvation. Inside lies the proof that my husband, her son, could never have fathered Brielle's child. Thank you, I whisper, my throat tight. This couldn't have been easy. Nothing about losing a child is easy. Her eyes, the same deep brown as Logan's, hold mine. But watching someone try to profit from his death? That's something I can't abide. Back at Robert Caldwell's office, he reviews the medical documentation with careful precision, his experienced eyes cataloging each detail. The diagnosis of complete azoospermia at age 26. The follow-up consultations. The genetic testing. All of it meticulously documented. This changes everything. He looks up, a rare smile crossing his face. I'm fine for expedited DNA testing today. I exhale. For the first time in a week, feels tangible. The counterattack from Brielle's lawyer comes swiftly. A motion to exclude the medical records as unreliable and potentially falsified. When that fails, a request to delay proceedings based on concerns for the mother's health. I recognize the tactics for what they are: desperation. My parents show up at Horizon Media on Tuesday afternoon. Standing in the lobby, they look smaller somehow, less imposing than the figures who dominated my childhood. Please tell Miss Wilson her parents are here. Dad tells the receptionist with the authoritative tone he's always used to get his way. I watch from the hallway as Andrea, our front desk coordinator, politely informs them that I'm unavailable. Mom's face crumples in practiced distress while Dad's shoulders stiffen. Just 5 minutes, Mom pleads. We're family. Not anymore, I whisper to myself, turning away before they can spot me. The calls begin the next day. Anonymous concerns about my mental stability directed to HR. A carefully staged reconciliation attempt at my Thursday grief support group, with a cousin I barely know showing up to plead my family's case. Each move more transparent than the last. But nothing prepares me for the moment in courtroom 4B, when Judge Harriet Maloney delivers her ruling. The court will allow both the medical evidence and expedited DNA testing. Her voice crossed the suddenly silent room. The medical records provided are clearly authentic and relevant to these proceedings. From my seat beside Caldwell, I watch Brielle fidget with her oversized diamond earring, her face a mask of controlled panic. For the first time since the baby shower, I feel something close to power. Elaine takes the stand that afternoon, her silver hair pulled back in a simple bun, her navy cardigan buttoned against the courtroom chill. She answers questions about Logan's medical history with quiet dignity, never once allowing Brielle's lawyer to fluster her. "And you're certain about this diagnosis?" he asks for the third time, his tone suggesting doubt where none should exist. "My son had genetic testing at 3 different facilities." Elaine's voice remains steady. "The condition was not temporary or treatable. Logan could never father a child." The court-appointed medical expert confirms every word. Technical terms fill the courtroom: congenital bilateral absence of the vas deferens, genetic markers, sperm count analyses. With each scientific confirmation, the foundation of Brielle's claim crumbles further. When Judge Maloney orders Brielle to submit the baby for DNA testing, my sister's composure finally fractures. Her hand flies to her throat, her eyes darting toward our parents in naked panic. The shift in public opinion happens gradually, then all at once. A church elder calls to apologize. The local newspaper prints a small retraction. Cards arrive from extended family members, brief notes of support and regret for believing the worst. I file them all away, grateful but unmoved. The truth was always there. They simply chose not to see it. "Chloe, please." Mom's voice breaks through my voicemail one evening. "Your father pushed me into this. I never wanted." I delete the message before she can rewrite history. Dad tries a different approach, showing up at Caldwell's office to explain how he was just protecting Brielle. As if betrayal could be justified by good intentions. Brielle misses the next court date. Her lawyer cites emotional distress, but the truth slips out through the grapevine. She's frantically searching for the actual father before the DNA results expose everything. I drive past my childhood home on a whim and spot the FOR sale sign stabbed into the front lawn, the financial house of cards beginning to collapse. In Caldwell's office, we prepare for the final phase. DNA samples collected from Elaine, standing in for her son. The medical examiner's report on hereditary markers highlighted in yellow. My decision to pursue damages for emotional distress outlined in precise legal language. "Whatever happens," Elaine says, her hand covering mine, "you're not alone anymore." For the first time since Logan died, those words feel true. The courtroom settles into a weighted silence as the judge reviews the documents before her. The clock on the wall ticks with cruel precision, each second stretching into infinity. My hands tremble slightly, so I fold them in my lap to hide the tremor. Across the aisle, Brielle shifts in her seat, crossing and uncrossing her legs. Her makeup is flawless but heavy-handed, the foundation unable to completely conceal the dark circles under her eyes. She catches me looking and lifts her chin a fraction higher. I glance back at my parents seated 3 rows apart. Mom clutches her purse with white knuckles while Dad stares straight ahead, shoulders hunched beneath his suit jacket. The united front they presented at the baby shower has crumbled into individual islands of anxiety. Elaine's warm hand covers mine. 8 weeks ago, this woman was a stranger. Today, her presence anchors me more securely than my blood relatives ever did. "All rise," the bailiff announces. Judge Martinez enters with measured steps. Her expression reveals nothing as she takes her seat and nods for us to do the same. Before we proceed with the reading of the DNA results, Brielle's attorney says, rising quickly, "We would like to request a brief recess for a private settlement discussion between parties." My attorney, Robert Caldwell, glances at me with raised eyebrows. I give a small shake of my head. "Your Honor," Caldwell responds, "we see no reason for delay. The court has the scientific evidence before it." Judge Martinez regards Brielle's attorney over her reading glasses. "Unless both parties agree, we will proceed as scheduled." In the hallway during the mandatory 15-minute recess, Brielle's attorney corners us with a manila folder. $100,000, he says, sliding the folder toward Caldwell. Miss Wilson drops all counterclaims, signs an NDA, and we all walk away today. I almost laugh at the inadequacy of the offer. A fraction of what Logan left me, in exchange for silencing the truth. Mom appears behind the attorney, eyes red-rimmed. Chloe, please. This has gone far enough. Family matters should stay private. I look at the woman who taught me to tell the truth, even when it hurt. The woman who chose her golden child's lie over her widowed daughter's pain. The truth doesn't require privacy. I tell her, my voice steadier than I expected. Back in the courtroom, Judge Martinez unfolds a sealed document. The DNA testing lab's letterhead gleams under the fluorescent lights. The court has received the results of the genetic testing ordered on the 14th of March, she announces. I will now read the findings into the record. My heartbeat hammers in my throat. Elaine's fingers tighten around mine. Based on comprehensive genetic analysis comparing samples from minor child Harper, Brielle Harper, and Elaine Foster, the testing facility reports. Judge Martinez pauses, her eyes moving across the page. 0% probability of genetic relationship between the minor child and Elaine Foster. A collective intake of breath ripples through the courtroom. The laboratory concludes with 99.99% certainty that Logan Wilson, as represented by biological relation Elaine Foster, cannot be the biological father of the minor child. Brielle makes a sound somewhere between a gasp and a sob. Her attorney whispers urgently in her ear, but she shakes her head, mascara already tracking down her cheeks. Your Honor, may I? She starts, her voice breaking. Miss Harper, you need to consult with your attorney before speaking, Judge Martinez warns. No, Brielle pushes to her feet. I need to say this. Her attorney tugs at her sleeve, but she pulls away, stepping toward the bench. There were others, she admits, her voice fragile in the quiet room. During that time, I wasn't sure who. She wipes at her cheeks, smearing makeup across her face. When I found out I was pregnant, I panicked. Then when Logan died, I thought, you thought no one could disprove it since he was dead. I finished for her, the words bitter on my tongue. She looks at me directly for the first time. I just wanted what you had, she whispers. You always had everything. The absurdity of her statement hits me like a physical blow. Everything? My dead husband? My childless home? The grief that follows me like a shadow? Judge Martinez raps her gavel once. Miss Harper, return to your seat. After a brief consultation with both attorneys, the judge delivers her ruling with clipped precision. This court dismisses all claims against Chloe Wilson with prejudice. Miss Harper, this court takes a dim view of perjury and fraudulent claims. You are hereby ordered to pay all court costs, and Miss Harper, this court takes a dim view of perjury. Wilson's legal fees. Her gaze hardens. Be advised that this ruling will be forwarded to the district attorney's office for review of potential criminal charges. She grants the restraining orders against Brielle, Mom, and Dad without hesitation. When she finally adjourns the proceedings, I sit motionless, unable to fully process that it's over. It's truly over, Caldwell says, echoing my thoughts as he shakes my hand in the hallway. Reporters hover at a respectful distance, but I have no words for them. Mom and Dad approach as Caldwell excuses himself to file our final paperwork. Chloe, Dad begins, his voice uncharacteristically humble. We were deceived too, you have to believe that. Mom nods eagerly. Brielle told us she had proof. Stop. The word emerges quiet, but sharp enough to silence them both. You chose the lie that served you best. The one that might have given you access to Logan's money. I straighten my shoulders. Make better choices with someone else's trust. You've exhausted mine. I turn and walk away without looking back, each step lighter than the last. Outside on the courthouse steps, Elaine waits with her coat folded over her arm. Spring sunshine catches in her silver hair, so like Logan's in texture if not color. I was thinking, she says as I approach, I'd like to tell you about Logan as a child, perhaps over dinner? For the first time in nearly a year, my smile feels genuine. I'd like that. There's still pain, still grief, still healing to do. But as we descend the courthouse steps together, I realize that family isn't always who you're born to. Sometimes, it's who stands beside you when the truth finally comes to light. My office door swings open to a chorus of, "Welcome back." Colleagues gather around my desk with genuine smiles, not the brittle ones from Brielle's baby shower. Lisa from accounting places a small potted peace lily on my desk. "We missed you, Chloe." Their warmth wraps around me like a quilt on a winter morning. After months of part-time hours, returning full-time feels like reclaiming a piece of myself Logan's death stole from me. That evening, I unroll a yoga mat in the community center's back row. The instructor nods encouragingly as I struggle through my first downward dog in years. My muscles protest, but something inside me stretches to something that's been tightly coiled since that punch glass shattered on Brielle's hardwood floor. After class, I open my laptop and book a cabin in Estes Park, Colorado. Logan and I had planned to celebrate our 5th anniversary there. Now I'll go alone, carrying his memory to the mountains he loved. The confirmation email arrives with a ping that sounds like possibility. Tuesday evening, Elaine arrives with a casserole dish and a photo album. Our weekly dinners have become the surprising anchor in my week. "Logan at 8, she says, pointing to a gap-toothed boy clutching a baseball. "Foster home number 3, but a good one. The Millers. They wanted to adopt him, but the system." I trace his smile with my fingertip. He never told me about the Millers. Some memories were too painful, even the good ones. Later that night, I sort through Logan's closet, no longer searching for evidence, but for understanding. His collection of baseball caps makes sense now. The Millers took him to games. His aversion to hospitals suddenly has context. The medical tests that confirmed his infertility happened in one. I fold each shirt with new reverence, knowing the full arc of his journey. The grief support group applauded last week when I shared the court victory, but they truly celebrated when I mentioned sleeping through the night without nightmares. Progress isn't linear, Dr. Samuels reminded us, but it is possible. On Friday, I signed the paperwork transferring ownership of Logan's downtown condo to Elaine. Her hands tremble as she accepts the keys. "I can't possibly. You gave me my life back," I tell her. "Logan would want you to have it." Tears spill down her weathered cheeks. "I never thought I'd have a daughter." The word warms places inside me I thought had frozen permanently. The following week, I attend my coworker Jen's baby shower. Unlike 7 months ago, I offer congratulations without pain overshadowing my words. The decorated nursery doesn't trigger flashbacks of Brielle's announcement. Instead, I notice Jen's happiness, the genuine excitement of her husband, the community gathering to support new life. No family members hover nearby, yet I'm surrounded by true friends who stood by me when truth became my only weapon. A certified letter arrives from Nancy and Gerald, their return address in familiar handwriting. I place it unopened on my desk beside a framed photo of Logan and me in simpler times. Some bridges should not be rebuilt, especially those burned deliberately by those who should have protected you. Brielle's social media announcement about moving to Arizona appears in my feed through a mutual friend. I scroll past without comment. Instead, I complete an application to volunteer at the grief support center that saved me. I finalize details for the Logan Wilson Memorial Scholarship for foster children pursuing higher education. I mark my calendar with travel dates: Colorado in autumn, perhaps Italy next spring. On a crisp Saturday morning, I stand at Logan's grave with fresh flowers. Yellow daisies, his favorite. Footsteps approach from behind, and Elaine appears with her own bouquet. We stand in comfortable silence, honoring what was lost and what was found. "The truth may hurt," I finally say, "but lies destroy." I choose truth. Elaine's hand finds mine, and we stand connected, a family formed not by blood, but by standing together in our darkest moments.